Hi everyone, I've got Vanessa here today. Vanessa and I
Okay.
had brunch the other day, and I'm lucky because she lives in South Africa in the same city that I am, the little town that we're in. And we
A
were
tiny little town, yeah.
it's a tiny little town and it's amazing. And anyway, Vanessa, I knew that you had to be part of this interview series. Please let us know a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful to be here, and obviously for anybody watching, I hope that this will be something that'll really shift you and support you with your expansion and growth in your business. So a little bit about me. I've been doing this for just over 4.5 years. I really help the visionary women, the women that wants to step up in a much bigger way. And I think we were having a little conversation before this around really, yes, there is that important element around the systems and strategy, which I love supporting my clients with. And I think that that's really important. But there is this bigger conversation, and I think something that's really missing online at the moment. And I think because of, like, we want it to all be glamorous and we want it to be the luxury lifestyle. And the real raw stuff that I go through with my clients is setting boundaries, getting out of overwhelm, and really feeling incredible. So I believe that we're meant to have it all. And that means make a ton of money, be incredibly happy, have an amazing relationship, look after ourselves. And I truly believe that we can have that all, and that we don't have to kind of have the business and be, hitting multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, and then our health goes to shit, or our relationships, deteriorate. So that's really the work that I do. And I think the work that I do with the women that I work with is really to be able to activate them so that they create a bigger ripple effect in the world, and a bigger transformation, and being able to make a lot of money and feel incredible so that we can give back freely to a society and a community that really needs, us as leaders, as visionaries.
So a lot of, like yourself and myself and our clients, we get into business and we work for ourselves because we want the free time. We want more time with our partner, with our families, to raise our children. But what happens 100% of the time is that we end up in absolute overwhelm, where we are now working twice as hard as we did when we were working in a corporate job. And I've seen it in myself. So this is a subject that's very close to my heart because I find myself in overwhelm quite a lot. I end up being, like ourselves, we become quite successful in what we're doing. But there's a limit to how much overwhelm we can take on without other areas of our lives suffering. So hence why we're on the call today, to figure out why we are, what happens, Vanessa? Why do we get into this stage?
So overwhelm really comes from a misalignment, and also very much a imbalance with your masculine and feminine energy. So it's a universal truth that to actually create abundance, to create alignment, we need both. We need the masculine and feminine. And what we generally do when we come into our business is hustle our little hats out, our tutus off. And it's often from a space of, and the women that I work with are high achievers. And I know that's your blueprint as well. You've always been successful. You've always kind of gone with it. But we're doing it from a space of masculine energy and this pushing and proving. And it's a lot of shoulds, a lot of have tos, a lot of kind of, negative self-talk and berating ourselves, and also a lack of consciousness around our energy and where our time is actually being spent. So we become victims of time, and essentially time is illusion. The body is illusion. The environment is an illusion. So if none of that exists, and there's never anything that we're ever required to do to create an outcome, then there wouldn't be overwhelm. Overwhelm is created, and it's a choice that we have, and it's an operating system. So there's also subconscious belief patterns that are driving us, because if we don't achieve a certain thing, then we're saying, oh, well, I'm not good enough. So we're actually linking our achievement to our self-worth, essentially, and that's what is creating this overwhelm. I also feel, especially in our industry, and most of the women I work with are high achievers, but they're also empaths. So we want people to be getting incredible results. We want to be helping people. We want to be putting all our energy into kind of getting results. But the reality is we're actually doing that to make ourselves feel better from a deep rooted feeling of not being enough. And that's obviously, probably something that's come from childhood trauma or whatever, or subconscious belief patterns that are running, that then drive us to kind of create from this space of pushing. And I actually experienced burnout just over a year ago, and it was an incredible thing to experience for me, because it shifted the trajectory of my business and my life. But it's obviously something that I would never ever wish on anybody in their business. And fortunately we had systems in the team and it kind of kept going. But there was a few things that I really learned in that time. And it wasn't that I was working all the time, it was just that I was on all the time. And I was taking on all this responsibility for my clients. And I know that now it is not in my best interest. I cannot take responsibility, and you can't take responsibility for anybody. They're their own humans, they're having their own journey. And I think one of my early coaches mentioned to me, Vanessa, you've got to let your clients have their journey as adults, because everything is happening for us right now. And we need to evolve and we need to grow. And some of that stuff that comes up is, well, all of that stuff that comes up, the shit and the good, is for our evolution and our growth and expansion. And that's a really important thing. There's so much I want to say on this topic, so I'm just going to stop there. But yeah, that's kind of what. Oh, and then what we also mentioned a little bit earlier was, so overwhelmed then becomes even more like prevalent and profound, obviously, when you go to the next level of income. What I often see with clients is they'll sit with like the 5K, 10K, 15K. And when they're starting to age into 20, 30, 40, 50, or even 100 plus, there is different things that are happening. So self-sabotage comes in, destructive patterns come in that may have kind of not been dealt with. So whether that's like crazy eating habits or crazy spending or arguing with your partner, and that obviously generates more overwhelm, so you can't even, it's detracting from your business, so that you don't actually go to the next level. So we need to dive into what's really happening, and then release it. So that whole assumption that when you're a 7-figure business owner, you kind of will poop rainbows and unicorns will fly over your head. It's not going to be the case unless you've dealt with the actual stuff that's happening below the surface. And that's what I've always found. And when I experienced burnout, it was very much, I was going, I had 110K week, and kind of the next month it was down to like 7K, and I was like, what is happening? But I just self-sabotaged, but I also needed to learn a very powerful lesson to move me forward. So hopefully anybody watching this will not experience that, but obviously there is quite a few things that need to happen to get out of that space, and that operating system of hustle and always being on it. Having a life is important as well.
So I agree. I think that when they acknowledge and when they realize that they're actually in burnout, first of all, is that awareness. Take that and flip it and say, well, something good is happening. I've reached that next ceiling. I'm ready to go to that next phase in my life, whether it's, the next income level or the next enjoyment out of life. But it's such a valuable time. I think that's important to acknowledge that. And it's important also to acknowledge that your burnout is nothing more than self-sabotage. it's kind of like our shadow sides rearing its ugly head, saying, hold on,
Yeah,
this, you
haven't listened.
you're perpetuating that I'm not good enough. You're perpetuating that you have to be more and prove yourself, and that perfectionist part of you. So it's a lot deeper than just saying, okay, well, I need to hire a team, I need to have more strategies in place, I need to have more systems in place. It's not that. It's a lot deeper than that. And this is the conversation that we're having today. It's about really acknowledging that actually how you were doing business, a year, 2 years ago is not going to serve you now if you're wanting that vision of your life. So what supports me in that awareness is that I go back to my vision of actually, as I take some time out, and I'm going to ask you how you deal with that with your clients and yourself. But what I do is a time to say, okay, let me just take some time out. Let me switch off my connection, my being on for my clients. Let me switch that off. Let me just go into.
It seems so simple, doesn't it? It seems simple, but we're so conditioned.
And then get in touch with what it is that I want, not my business, but what it is that I really want for my life. Like, how do I really want to wake up and feel every day? How do I want to live my day? And that will start connecting me to actually look at the disparity of, that's the out of alignment, exactly how you mentioned, how I'm currently living my day and how I'm feeling. This is how I intend to live my day and how I want to feel.
Yeah. And I think that's really important, of looking at how do you want to feel. And even if you're putting something off in your business or something like that you want to do, it is connecting to that. Well, how is it going to feel when it's done? How is it going to feel when we've created that? And I think that's often, that is often what happens, is we are creating from this older version of ourselves, rather than stepping into, the multiple 6-7 figure business owner right now. And I think a credible exercise to do is like, okay, well, if I'm already there, if I already have that 7-figure business, because obviously we are women that have big goals and we have big desires, but also there's no point getting to 7 figures if you're burnt out and unhappy. And so what are those thoughts? What are those words? What are those feelings? What are those beliefs? And what are those associated actions that come with that, like being there right now? Because that version already exists in the quantum. If we can visualize and see it, it really does exist, which is incredible. I even find that, I had a really incredible life. Like Sean, my fiance, was in the business. We were in Bali. I had more money than I'd ever had. I was traveling. We were going away every 30 days. I was eating what I wanted. And it was actually a very scary point in my life, because I was like, yes, I've got all of this, but I'm not actually happy. Why aren't I happy? And I think that's also something to really look at, because I think we've, as high achievers, we're proving from tiny. I mean, I used to get like anxiety around studying and being, the best in my class and best at sports and all of this sort of thing. And actually, I'd forgotten what fun was. I'd forgotten what makes me happy. And it's the really simple things like, going for a walk every day, allowing myself the space and time to only do calls twice a week. Like then looking at how I want to actually create my business around my life, rather than everything dictating. And I think in your first couple of years of business, and maybe your first year, maybe there is a bit of stuff around like, oh, I need to take on that client, or maybe I'll charge a little bit less for that group program that I'm launching. But then there does come a point when you have been in business for a while, you can't carry on doing those things. So we have to increase our prices. We have to get a business model. We have to get a team that supports our growth and expansion. And most of the time we're so in such a huge amount of resistance around change, because it doesn't feel safe. So it's that whole conversation around upper limiting, and kind of getting to your ceiling and then self-sabotaging all the time. One of the things that I love to do around that is, life's allowed to get better and better. So whenever I'm kind of getting into the habit or the old habits and patterns, it's like, okay, I see that. We've dealt with that. That's cool. And now, life's allowed to get better and better. And the easier it gets, the easier it gets. And the more fun I have, the more money I make. And those are really incredible mantras to really start activating who we are, and actually starting to run our business more intuitively. And I think that's something that if you're in overwhelm, you're pushing, you're proving, you're actually disconnected from your intuition. So starting to ask some questions around, what is it that you want to do, Vanessa, or what is it that you want to create, or what would faith do in this situation? Because when we're operating from shoulds and have tos, that's not a great way to be operating. I also don't do a lot of planning, because I think also, I have my goals for the year, but I think we can also be so fixated on outcomes, which actually cause overwhelm. And obviously when it's outcome linked to our self-worth, then it's a magical shitstorm going on. But it's like, because your money, go ahead.
I'm laughing because I can see, this is who I am and what I do as well. I'm seeing all of my patterns, and I just want to be honest about it. The more transparent I can be about my patterns, and that means that the people that are watching can own that and shift that if they choose to. So I just think that we take on a lot of responsibility. We take on responsibility for our clients, and we're on call all the time. And I think one of the blocks that I deal with, and I'm sure many other entrepreneurs deal with, is that we want to control the situation. We have this idea of, okay, that's our financial goal for the month, right? And we want to control how that happens. So in order to control that, we have to do, in our minds, be masculine, get into our masculine energy, and we have to do this, do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you're very right in that, where is the feminine energy? Where is the receptivity? Where is the allowing? Where is the, okay, you know what, I've done my amount of work for the day. I'm going to close off and I'm going to go and have some fun. So guaranteed, I have seen this in my business. I know that if I'm feeling overwhelmed, one thing I will do is I'll book a weekend away and I'll spend a bit of money on an Airbnb somewhere on the beach with no computers, no Facebook, no Instagram. And I'm telling you, as soon as I come back, I'm in a completely different zone. So in order to kind of break away, spend money on myself for the pure pleasure and enjoyment, for no other reason. I'm not trying to control any situation. And I agree with you, the more fun we can have, the more sometimes we get away from the computer, the more our dream clients actually just resonate with us. And I believe it's all down to our energy shifts. So do you
actually buying into an energy?
Do you want to work with another woman who is so overwhelmed, doesn't know what to do, is always kind of frantic? We don't want to work with someone like that, right? We want to align ourselves with someone who has that balance of, hey, I'm actually taking time out for myself, and I'm going to be on call for when I have my clients. And that's where we can chat now about boundaries and how do boundaries come in there. When do we start putting ourselves first above our clients? Because that actually will get us a higher quality, I won't say quality, but a higher level of clients, is when we're able to really acknowledge ourselves and put ourselves first. And I mean, I'm all for, even if I'm having a really overwhelming day, I realize it, and I will put my headphones on, I'll go outside and I'll put some crazy music on just to kind of get that energy of overwhelm away. So I'll start having that energy of fun and what I want. And everyone's energy is different. Everyone has their own triggers that they can tap into, that the kind of the fun dial gets turned on. And I think that's vital that we know what that is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's just a couple of things that I would, like what you were saying around, oh, well, when I finish my work, then I can have fun. And I know I had this, and I see this with a lot of my friends, is like, okay, well, how can you create fun and joy in your business? How can that be fun and enjoyable and incredible for you? And that's actually, when you're creating from that space and you're activated in your business, it's like, I love my business. Everything that I get to do now is fun. And yes, that's had to be a little bit of programming. And one of my favorite things is kind of like release the drama, take the action, so that you're not like, oh, I have some funsies here, and then, oh, like, let's dread work there. Or the same thing, I can't wait for the weekend, because then I can have fun and I can switch off. And I think as business owners, like, we are our business, we are our personal brand. And that's where we can actually start to create the flow in our business. Is when we're moving effortlessly from task to task, or effortlessly from seeing friends to getting into our business, or creating some pockets of time, or like when I'm going for a walk, I'll do my Instagram stories, or maybe I'll go and sit outside and write my email. So it's not like, oh, at my desk doing my thing, and like work is boring, and then then I get to enjoy myself, and then I get to have fun. Another thing you were saying is like, so your actions actually become, it's an extension of your being. So when you shift your being and shift your energy, then your actions become a reflection of that. So if we're doing a funnel, or if we're putting content out there and it's like this shitty energy and I don't feel like doing it, or like, I don't want to do it, that's the energy that's going to come out. Or if we don't actually believe that that our prices are worth it, or that people are going to buy it, then we're putting content out in a different energy and a different space. And that's where I think that starting your day in alignment is so important. And I know, I think you were saying it as well, but I was, I just like switch on my phone, look at all the things that I had to do for the day, and get into that reactive space. And now it's like, it's not part of my day to get up and 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, switch on the phone. I give myself time and space to take care of me first, because I am the most important thing in my business. You're the most important thing in your business. 100%. Like, how can your business exist? How can your clients get the best of you? How can you put out the message that you're meant to be putting out into the world, if you don't feel activated, turned on, excited about what you're doing? And I think that's also one of the things that I see when people aren't doing the work that they're meant to do, is that there's this lot of like resentment around their business. And when they shift and change, or maybe they own their spiritual side, or they own their even their techie side, or whatever the case may be, because we all have beliefs and funny things going on, then we actually get activated. So it's that excitement. But the morning routine, I think now it's become like, oh, another chore, another tick box exercise in the day. And I've got to meditate, and I've got to journal, and I've got to have my exercise, and then like they're flipping exhausted because you've done all the shoulds. And I think that's also maybe a really important conversation around like, how are you starting your day, and how does that make you feel? Because you don't have to journal, you don't have to exercise, you don't have to do any of those things. You could literally create the belief, and you can shift your beliefs and your mindset instantly. There is energy racing through your body at every moment. So we can activate that. We only need to, it just speeds up the activation. It helps us connect to source quicker by doing those things, but it's not something we're ever required to do, because we have energy sources, chakras that are powerful within us. And that's also, I think, a big thing about overwhelm, is we think that our happiness and our joy and love and whatever is external to us. And the moment we stop that and we realize that, like, you know, your energy is there, you just need to own it, you just need to step into it. And I think there is also this might be a bit controversial, but in terms of like blocks, I don't feel that people are blocked in terms of mindset blocks or money blocks. I truly believe that there is we just haven't owned our power. We just haven't stepped into the power that essentially we came here with. We've forgotten who we are. And there is a relearning of essentially who we are. Remembering that we are powerful, that we are infinite, that money is in massive supply, and that there is nothing to worry about because we are guided and protected on this journey. If we're listening. And yeah, I think there's that whole conversation around conscious leaders and the work that we're actually meant to do as coaches in the world. I do feel that there is our duty and responsibility to this planet to actually raise the consciousness and create that ripple effect. So we've got powerful jobs to do. And I think we don't even realize the capacity of I mean, like, why are we doing what we're doing? It's bonkers. You know, sometimes people, you know, most people don't understand it. Most people don't, you know, they don't even start questioning it. So I do feel that, you know, we are chosen to create a change. And I don't know if that's gone down the woo-woo spiral, but you know.
But I agree totally. That's why I think the whole overwhelm conversation is really just about, in basic terms, we're self-sabotaging ourselves because we are scared to, you know, the whole thing, we're scared of our life. We're scared to actually step into the power of actually owning our spiritual leadership as being a spiritual leader for women. And it's there to keep us small and keep us busy and keep us in the rat race of, you know, taking the next course, and I'm not good enough, so I'm going to learn how to do this, and oh, I better take this course on how to do that and how to get more Instagram followers. And it's not about that. It's completely not about that. It's and if the one message that comes across today is that it's just a self-sabotage trick that our egos are playing on ourselves in order just to keep us small. And if we can just see that and work with it, and slowly we can get out of that. We can get out of that by today. You can make certain boundaries within yourself. You can start work an hour later, and you don't have to journal, do exercise, do all of those things. What if you just make yourself a really nice breakfast and sit outside and eat breakfast before you start work?
Yeah.
Right?
There's some luxury in that simplicity. Just that simple stuff. Yeah. Or what do you feel like doing today?
What do you feel like doing? What do you feel like doing today?
Yeah.
Who are you putting off? What friends have you been putting off, seeing and saying, no, I'm too busy, I can't do that? When was the last time you connected with your family or saw them? You know, those relationships that you've had with people, are they being nurtured? You know, this is about talking about really, that's about being happy. So that's the internal happiness that gives us that drive. So even if you make one or two small changes today and create small shifts, can make huge changes in your life and how you see your day. And it'll completely shift your mindset to actually, I'm in burnout and overwhelm, into actually, wow, I connected with someone today, and my energy's up and I'm feeling so good. And then imagine with that energy, you can give so much more to your clients. Instead of running on empty, instead of kind of draining, trying to squeeze the last bit of creativity for your clients, here your cup is overflowing. You can give more and more and more to your clients. So it's all about taking care of yourself first. We hear it again and again and again, but actually, how many of us actually has that sunk into it? Are we actually doing that every day? Are we really doing that?
Yeah, it comes down to trust, really.
Yeah,
it comes down to trust. And I think I've seen it enough now that, when I step away from my business, or I'm feeling incredible, I know that there's more applications that come in. My sales calls are incredible. My clients are shifting. So I've actually, I've created that belief as well of like, when I step out of my business, or when I look after myself, or when I'm the best version of myself, I actually make more. So I think that's a really great belief maybe to adopt, because it is about creating your beliefs. And also the other thing is like not punishing yourself for taking out that time, and that it'll always trusting yourself enough that the work will always get done. I think the time's just gone. We're just spoken so much. Is there something specific
I think
around boundaries, maybe?
I think that I think that I'm going to go on a limb and say something here that people might not agree with me, but I honestly believe that in order to get to that next level, whatever next level that is for you, whatever next level, the only way to do it is through actually really delving into and owning these self-sabotaging like tactics that we're using on ourselves, and just to be aware of it. And sometimes this is the whole thing, is that doing less, you will get more out of your business. And that's my kind of take on this subject. I really do believe that it's about doing less. You will get so much more enjoyment, more pleasure, more inner happiness. And yes, the byproduct will be a higher income, better results for your clients, smoother inflow and influx of clients. But you just have to believe in that and take that leap of faith and really know that this is that next level for you.
Yeah. And I think that next level piece is very important, because of course, like when you're starting out, there is going to be probably more hours and more kind of hustle and stuff like that. But when you've got all the systems and structure, you've got a proven process, and your clients getting amazing transformations, it's about using the systems and structures that you've got, and then to actually start your own personal growth and really tapping into that even further. And I suppose your bigger purpose and your divine assignment is like when that's going to really be shown to you, when you've actually got more space and time to look at it. And I think that self-sabotage stuff, it's not about beating yourself up like, why didn't I do that, why didn't that happen, because that just perpetuates the same thing. It's like, okay, well, what's happening? What is this happening? Why is this happening for me? Where am I not in alignment? What needs to shift? And also when you're like rising and you're going to the next level, it's like, what do I need to release to rise? And that's a really powerful question in terms of like, what do I need to get rid of? Because you've probably evolved so much as a being, that maybe your messaging is the same, or your branding is the same, or your even your the way you're dressing might be the same, like the things, or your program is the same, whatever the case may be. Or like I got rid of my Facebook group, I got rid of a whole lot of programs, and it was scary, but it was so needed for my growth and expansion. And the faster that you essentially rip that band-aid off and do what you're meant to do, that's where happiness and joy really, really sits.
Thank you, Vanessa. I have loved this conversation, not only for my own benefit and just so that I am in alignment with my dreams and with my goals and with my intention and my purpose on the world as well. So thank you so much for that. Vanessa's details on
amazing thing.
On how to get hold of her is.
I mean, we could talk all day, as we did.
And we do. I know. I think we spent hours talking. But if you want to get hold of Vanessa, her details are below the video. So she is amazing. I can't highly recommend her enough. She's completely in alignment with where I am at the moment as well. Just your sense of, your depth and your spirituality. And, there's a lot more to, being a business owner than just profits. It's so much more that we have a responsibility to impact the world very deeply. And so it's amazing that you're doing this job and you really fully owned it and you are doing it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, perfect. And also the whole thing is the profits will come in even greater supply. And I think that's the thing that we don't trust, which is it's trust. So the profit's going to be bigger when you take care of yourself. And I think that's probably a really important message. So thank you so much for having me. I'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.